This week, we're getting ready to throw a big ol' bash around the pillar safety. I'm doing a mastermind class with my good friend, Stephanie Cathan. I can't wait to see what we're going to collaborate. But when I look at this, that I believe to make life being creative, creativity, body healing, allowing ourselves to be who we are, like allowing ourselves, not to blame and shame ourselves, that we really are working in our life to have freedom, safety, and healing. And I'm speaking to the safety pillar. And the third one up says, love you. And when I put this together, I was like, what's the phrase love you? Like, what's love all about? But when we start going into safety, it's about really being able to see ourselves. And I'm coming in with years of experience of mindset coaching, connecting with mind, body, and spirit. So as a health coach, been in the health industry for 25 years. I love connecting business and cash flow and lifestyle, the way we show up for ourselves internally, like how our body's reacting to everything. I love doing it this way because it takes care of what I call the energy revitalized pillars, which is around food, mindset, and just like body flow, body movement. My name is Rhonda. I'm a vitality coach. I'm a Get Raw, Go Bold, Be You coach for business and health. And when I think about love, it is about how can I love on everything that I have around me. What's your definition of love? Add a comment if you would like. Just wondering, like, what is your world around this concept of love you? Who would you like to say love you to? Who would you like to say that to? I always go to the love for within ourselves. And it gets kind of dicey when we start talking about actually when we go look up what love means. Because it's like, I don't talk to myself that way. But maybe you do. But how you want to talk to others is a good way to be able to talk to yourself so that your nervous system gets real calm. You can feel it. And it just has this vibe of whoosh. Think of it as water or movement, flow, all that kind of stuff that you just feel like everything just feels so good. So I decided to look this up because I'm doing a class on the safety pillar. It's like, when I looked it up on Google, this is what came up. An intense feeling of deep affection. I feel a deep affection for it. It had kind of brackets there. And I was like, for me. Because if I can love myself down to the nervous system, that means when things aren't going right with cash, with business, relationships, lifestyle, nothing's fitting in right, that you can take care of that nervous system and say, hey, let's calm down here. Everything's okay. And then you can flip the switch. And instead of bouncing out of something and stopping your personal growth, that you really are leaning in. And I think that's really important because the next step that happens is that you start feeling safe instead of scared. Instead of eating, I'd eat a cookie. Instead of eating a cookie, going, nom, 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 okay, I'm fine now. Mine would be a chocolate chip cookie. It reminds me of my dad. Good morning. Okay, so if I look at this, I love you. A feeling of strong affection, care, and respect for another person. Well, what about if the other person is you? That you're learning to be able to love on yourself, like love. When you feel that, there's something that comes out of that, something that becomes calm and vibrates to eternity. Good morning, Stephanie. I was just talking about you, by the way, because I'm talking about love and I'm looking at our session with, I think I would do the safety pillar in it. And the love you gets really tricky. And so when I look at okay, so this is from Google, by the way. So characters of love. Okay, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's see when we look at ourselves how much we can love on ourselves. Because the more we love on ourselves, the more we recognize that we have some repairing to do. Because if you can't talk to yourself this way, these different ways that Google says is love you, well then how the heck are we going to have a good relationship with everyone else? So I call this hashtag speaker locking arms. If we stop our blaming and shaming and we really get into the depths of what we are saying to ourselves, life is so different. Again, you can grow everything that you want powerfully, and you won't bounce out of it because you won't get as scared. You'll bring back that safety into your life. And we all need love. How are we going to bring that internally so that we can reflect on the outside to people? And I'm learning this, before we get into this, when I started doing this type of work about going inside, the first thing I heard, because I wasn't like this, so my brain is saying, okay, stop acting like that. That's not you. You're fooling everybody and you'll be making a fool of yourself. Whatever was coming up, I was actually hearing that. And I started laughing and I said, here, wait, I'm working really hard at this. What does that mean? So if I didn't hear that, if I didn't hear myself coming back at myself, and like I talked about, like the healing of the body to the nervous system, you start hearing when you're coming at yourself. Oh, it's terrible. Then as time went on, I started hearing these things about nobody believes you. You're overdoing it. This is not real life. And those things, those patterns that were going in my brain and coming at me. So the first thing I really needed to do was get into my safety pillars so I didn't bounce out of moving forward and showing my heart. Because there's been many times I felt foolish about showing more of myself. Anybody else ever felt that? Where you truly feel like a fool. You're embarrassed. I just told somebody I love them, and it might be, Samantha. And you're oh, I love you. And Samantha's And you're I do. I really care about you. And so it becomes a closer relationship with people because you see them and you're giving a safe space. And not everybody thinks a safe space is I love you, but maybe they're not your cup of tea and you just don't realize it. But the love you on the safety pillar, when you look at the characters of love, it says respect, 2, trust and empathy. These are characters of love. And we're talking about ourselves, by the way, before we can actually extend that out to somebody else. Anybody uncomfortable here? I mean, truthfully, is anybody uncomfortable? I used to be so uncomfortable. And I'll kind of feel it out for you. I'll call myself out if I do too. Number 3, growth. Number 4, commitment to nurture. Number 4, values. 1, 2, 3, 4. Values was 5. I'll just keep saying 4. 6, happiness. 7, teamwork with yourself. And you know what I put there? Stop berating yourself. Because if we say 60, 70,000 words to ourselves a day, sometimes I hear that we say 12,000 words to ourselves, but no matter what, that's a lot of words. And 80%, if that is really negative, how can we calm that down? And this really is the step to move forward. How do you feel about this? If you stop berating yourself, that would mean you'd be able to team up, and let's talk about your health. Because remember, I was talking about the energy revitalized pillars earlier. And if you think that eating, mindset, and food, those 3 things connect with health and spirit, of course, that there's something there that you can't just do one thing. You can't just go work out and expect for you not to get cancer. I shouldn't say that. Cancer's big. But I mean, any aches and pains, any, hormone issue, anything, your whole endocrine system, it gets affected every time you're at yourself. There's this study that everybody knows about, I believe. It's with glasses of water, and then glasses of water, you say, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. They put it under the microscope, and it showed rigid, different, jagged things in the water. And then the other group said, I love you. I love you. And you can feel that frequency difference. And you blend that together to really kind of bring something cohesive. What they found is the water that I love you, it was water of flow, water that looked cohesive. And so there were two different things under the microscope. If you realize we're 60, 70,000 fluids through our body, a flow of water. That's why we drink water. If you berate yourself 80% of the time of all those words you're saying, the jag is going to happen. It's going to affect your hormone system, how the liver talks to the brain, how the liver speaks to the kidneys, how the liver speaks, because the liver is the motherboard of everything. I love you. I love you. So if we learn to respect ourselves, not look at ourselves in the mirror and think that's the only thing you're seeing, the exterior body, and really seeing the inside. Oh, I'm just thinking of something. I realize when I look in the mirror, I see beauty. And it's not, it's I physically am working on taking care of myself consistently. Sometimes I don't, and I kind of catch it, but I don't go the old school way, which I'd be like, judgment, totally. I'd go, oh, here, wait, I need to have more water. Oh, this is on my skin. Okay, I need to take this supplement. And that, I mean, in the health industry for 25 years, I go to the strategies, but when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm checking my aura. How can I see like the energy? And I notice when I'm taking pictures, if I'm with somebody that I love, like, oh my gosh, that means I really appreciate them. I respect them. I want growth with them. I want commitment and nurturing space with them. And I feel happy and my values are aligned with them. See, I'm still working my list here. This is from Google, just the list of what does love look like, and so when you start thinking about these things, everything becomes all as one. There is no pivot from, I'm mad at that person, now I'm happy. I'm going to talk bad about that person, now I'm happy. Because your body doesn't understand that that person isn't right there and that you're not battling them right there. All your body knows is the reaction of what's happening in your mind. And your speaker locking arms, the shaming and the blaming, this is the connection between the two. And I was on thyroid for 20 years. And now I've been off for 10. And everything I'm learning is so crazy interesting. So that I get to be here with you and be able to express how important this is. What is important for you and what you feel about yourself? What are the steps that you need to connect inside and not feel uncomfortable? To be able to look in the mirror, to stay off the scale and berate yourself, to create your world that you truly believe that you can have. And you make those steps toward that. If you believe you need more money and not be anxious but love on money, the energy of money, where you get to serve, what your bank account looks with all the bells and whistles and beauty of that. With your business, not getting anxious around doing step by step because you keep telling yourself and berating yourself in a way that doesn't help. So what are the things that you want to work on? I brought some really cool things. Of course, Google helped me. And people talk about how AI helps them now too. Which, that's important too. But I was talking about an intensive feeling of deep affection. And if we have our safety pillar, we need to feel a bit of raw, open space so that we can really get to what we're trying to get to. The empathy for ourselves, like, oh, my thyroid is bothering me today. And instead of berating my thyroid, I go, thyroid, I love you so much. Thank you. And let me tell you something. My forehead used to hurt a lot, and it was around creativity and stopping myself. And it was a lot to do with this third step here about loving myself. About all the issues that I've had when I was growing up, that was me. Why don't we take that time to just unravel that, just let it go? And it's very hard to do. But the first step for today, besides those 5 steps I'm really talking about to get to safety, but the first step is really being able, when you're talking about love you, is that you're able to really speak to yourself. You're able to look in the mirror and not look at somebody else and try and compare yourself to them. That you look at you. Nobody else can be like you. So tell me where that takes you today. I love you so much. You have a fabulous day. And if Stephanie, if you're still here, appreciate you. Love you. Love you, everybody, in replay. I'll catch up with you soon. Namaste.